As President Biden faces louder calls to step aside over his cognitive health, his official White House physician is explaining why a Parkinson's expert reportedly went to the White House 8 times in 8 months. Dr. Kevin O'Connor defending the neurologist's frequent visits in a statement, saying he was chosen for his broad expertise, not just because of his work treating a particular disease. Dr. O'Connor saying that, quote, President Biden has not seen a neurologist outside of his annual physical. The White House even going so far as releasing the name of the neurologist, Dr. Kevin Kennard, and stressing his overall military medical background in a rare letter overnight. This comes as Democrats become even more divided over whether the president should step out of the race. Nearly 24 lawmakers have voiced their support for President Biden, as many within the party say his poor debate performance speaks volumes about his ability to lead another 4 years. NewsNation's Tom Dempsey has the latest in the report for us from the White House. Tom, the president very much pushing back on this criticism.
Hey, good morning, Brooke. Yeah, we're definitely starting to see a little bit more offense, and President Joe Biden fighting back against these calls for him to withdraw from the 2024 presidential race. We know late Monday, President Biden spoke directly with the Congressional Black Caucus, a very influential group on Capitol Hill, hours after the group came out and endorsed him. And we've seen almost 24 lawmakers come out in support of the president. Some of the fresh support includes Representatives Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, also known as AOC, Pramila Jayapal, Ro Khanna, and the chair of the Hispanic Caucus. So this is obviously very good news for President Joe Biden, because the big story has been these Democrats coming out calling on him to step out of the race. But we are seeing calls of support for him as well. And President Joe Biden saying on a campaign call with national organizers that all these negative headlines about his campaign are a benefit for former President Donald Trump. And the time is now for Democrats to come together, Brooke.
Tom, this morning, though, there's still plenty of Democrats skeptical that the president can lead for another 4 years. Who's really been speaking out?
Yeah, well, some notable names actually coming forward against the president and, raising concerns, fresh concerns about his campaign. And that includes Senator Patty Murray, who is the Senate President pro tempore, a very high-ranking Democrat. She released a statement in regards to the Biden campaign, calling for him to be a little bit more aggressive on the campaign trail and writing, quote, we need to see a much more forceful and energetic candidate on the campaign trail in the very near future in order for him to convince voters he is up to the job. At this critical time for our country, President Biden must seriously consider the best way to preserve his incredible legacy and secure it for the future. One of the strongest criticisms coming from Washington State Democrat Adam Smith, who wrote, quote, any candidate for the highest office in our nation has a strong burden to bear. That candidate must be able to clearly, articulately, and strongly make his or her case to the American people. It is clear that President Biden is no longer able to meet this burden. Senator Sherrod Brown, facing a tough re-election battle in Ohio, spoke to our NewsNation affiliate about questions over the Biden campaign. Take a listen.
I'm not going to judge people in my party, what they're saying or what Republicans say. I'm not a pundit. I've talked to people across Ohio. They have legitimate questions about whether the president should continue his campaign. And I'll keep listening to people.
So far, almost a dozen Democrats have come forward calling on President Joe Biden to withdraw from the 2024 race. Brooke, this morning going to be very key to watch as House Democrats come together for the first time in person since that poor debate performance by President Joe Biden. We may see more calls for him to withdraw from the race, but we may also see more calls in support of his campaign.
Thanks for watching, everybody. Go to joinnn.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. Also, don't forget to click that red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.